Today, I'm going to explain a movie called You Should Have Left. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The film starts off with Ella, a young girl who walks through the halls of her house, mumbling obscenities to herself. A ghostly man named Stetler appears and grabs her. This turns out to be a nightmare that Ella's father, Theo, is having. Theo is married to an actress named Susanna. When he tries to visit her on set, one of the helpers refuses to let him in. While waiting to be granted authorization, Theo hears Susanna doing a lovemaking scene which makes him annoyed. It's hinted that people dislike Theo because of a prior incident. The Conroys spend their vacation at Wales, an old-fashioned vacation cottage. The family appears to enjoy the location after investigating it. That night, Ella is playing with her shadow puppets when she notices what appears to be a man's shadow on the wall. Theo and Susanna get ready to go to bed, but when Theo goes to lower the thermostat, Susanna appears to be asleep. He gently nudges her, startling her awake, and claims to have had a nasty dream. As a way of coping with past trauma, Theo keeps a journal. Susanna and Ella go out on a walk in the woods when Ella asks her mother why everyone seems to despise her father. Susanna says that Theo's first wife perished in the bathtub and that people suspected Theo of murdering her, though he was acquitted at trial. Theo later discovers that Susanna told Ella and scolds her for it, as he had been waiting for the appropriate opportunity to speak with her about it. Theo goes grocery shopping in town. The shopkeeper inquires if Theo intends to stay in that house, alluding to Stetler and the other houses that have stood on that hill. Another random woman asks Theo about Stetler as he walks away. When Theo can't sleep later that night, he listens to his self-help cassettes. He looks about the house and discovers what appears to be a hidden stairwell in a bookshelf. He pursues it downstairs, where he discovers what appears to be Ella's body. He realizes it's a nightmare and tries to jolt himself awake by slicing his wrists, then his throat. Thankfully, Theo is uninjured when he awakens. Theo is constantly in a state of jealousy and mistrust towards Susanna. One evening, while she is taking a bath, Theo checks the messages on her phone and laptop. Theo has a dream that night and sees someone writing in his journal, "You should leave." The family prepares to leave the next day because they are not having a nice time. Outside, Theo watches Susanna and Ella play and texts her. At the same time, Susanna looks at her phone, but he hears her phone vibrate in the kitchen. He realizes she has another phone. He decides to go outside to hand over the other phone to Susanna, assuming she is on the phone with another man named Max, who is apparently her ex. This leads to another argument that ends with Susanna leaving the house by herself. Theo and Ella begin to investigate the strange features of the house, such as how when he drops water, it splits into two nearly symmetrical halves, and how one room's inside is larger than its outside. Later in the dream world, the two of them appear to be having visions, but Theo manages to return to Ella. He calls for a cab and is answered by the shopkeeper, who informs him that there are no cabs in the neighborhood and something about the devil taking souls from that residence. Theo and Ella prepare to leave by walking away from the house. Theo sees a man standing near the window, watching them. Eventually, they walk right back to the house. Susanna returns to the house, and Theo puts Ella in the car. He finally tells Susanna the truth about his first wife's death. He didn't kill her personally, but he witnessed her lose consciousness and chose not to save her, allowing her to die while he watched. Susanna is appalled. He accepts that he belongs in the house. Theo's spirit is then seen trapped inside the house, revealing he was the figure watching the two walk out last night, trying to warn his past self by writing the messages in his journal. And with that, the film comes to a close. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help. Thank you for watching.